Personally, I can't stand the term hopeless romantic. I don't like it. I hear it way too often, and I really do feel like it's a derogatory term towards men who really just know how to love or really like to express love more so. I find it interesting how women typically prefer the man who's a little more laid back, calm, cool, collected, and shows less interest, opposed to the man who may be uh, upfront about his interests, and I do think it has to deal with approach. But at the same time, I'm bringing this point up and I'm talking about it because people call me a hopeless romantic, and I have hope. I have hope. So I don't really like that term because I feel as though it points towards this direction as if there's no hope. Or as if I have to change my direction or how I love in order to receive love back, right? So I can't be the guy that gives the flowers or the guy who calls his woman beautiful or things of that nature. I'm a simp in that regard, right? I'm a hopeless romantic as opposed to just being a guy who just loves a certain way. And it breaks down. It breaks down to certain levels. And the first thing I'm going to say is I will not lower my standards. I will not lower my standards for love because I've been titled something that questions my love or puts my love in question. And I just think that's corny, bro. I think that I should be able to love somebody the way that I want to love them. And this is the other side, right? Somebody may say, bro, you're expecting too much. Maybe you have a twisted or warped reality of what love is supposed to be, and that comes from, don't get me wrong, that can come from books and movies and social media that gives you this false perception, excuse me, of what love truly is. We look at social media couples, or we look at the fairy tales, and we say, I want that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I want something that's impossible. I'm not saying that I want something that's unrealistic. What I'm saying is I've seen certain things, and I want that kind of love. I want somebody to love me the way that I love them. And I don't think that makes me a hopeless romantic. I think it makes me a person who wants to be loved a certain way. And I remember there was one conversation I had, and this made sense to me. Don't get me, like, they were saying maybe you need to love yourself first, and I get that. I feel that, and I receive that. I think that loving yourself first is mandatory. I think that once you love yourself first, then it's easier to be in a relationship and not get the love that you're quote unquote looking for because you're giving it to yourself already. So when that person disappoints you, it's like, oh, well, I'll give it to myself. You know what I'm saying? So whatever. But I guess then why am I in a relationship with this person? Not saying they're gonna give it to me all the time, but are they giving it to me when I need it? Are they giving it to me most of the time? Or am I just with this person because they're attractive or they used to give it to me? Or so then the relationship becomes in question because you're saying that loving me a certain way is hopeless. So this is just the thoughts and the issues I have with the term hopeless romantic that puts this feeling or this energy towards a person or a man more often than not who just loves who just loves love. That's me. I just love love, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm flawed in several ways, and I know that how I love has to be worked on. Even I'll give the example of love languages. I had to learn that. That was something that it took me a while to fully understand. Where I was telling somebody, I'll use the same example. I was telling somebody, "Oh, they're beautiful. You're, I like your dress. Oh, I can't wait to see you this weekend." Saying these words of affirmation to affirm them that I care when that's not what they want. Their love language was acts of service and gifts. So I was loving someone in a way that I was hoping they would love me back, if that makes sense. And that's not that's not it either. So I'm not pointing towards those things. We're addressing the poor ways or the bad ways to give love. I'm not talking about those. What I am talking about though are the positive ways and the reinforcement and just the reciprocation. I think that's where the term gets rooted in. Hopeless romantics normally don't get reciprocated love. They don't get the love that they put out. Again, hopeless. Like you're giving all this love to every girl you come across, hoping that they give it back, and then they don't. And so I get the term, but again, it puts this stigma on a guy who just loves hard. And I remember this one girl telling me, she was like, I don't want to be with like a hopeless romantic. I think that's too much. Like, I don't want to be with a romantic guy. I'm like, then what do you want? You know what I'm saying? I just think I think it's just like, oh, I just want like, and we begin to have this conversation, and she lists off all these things that are just like, I feel like bare minimum. Like, this is like, she lists like, oh, just care about me, and be aware of what I'm feelings and tell me. I'm like, bro, that's what a hopeless romantic would do. Because the guy, he gets a guy who cares about you. You're just saying the energy behind it is too much because you don't know how to deal with, you've never received love in that way. I think, this is my personal opinion, I think that the majority of women have been, the majority of people have been in toxic relationships, right? And I think that women oftentimes don't know how to receive love. I think that when they finally come across somebody who knows how to give them the love that they do deserve, it's foreign to them and it comes across as too much. That's what I think. I also think that on the flip side, that men, uh through trauma, uh don't love properly, and sometimes we expect something from the love that we give. So when I finally do love you, or when I give you what you say you want for love, I expect you to either love me back or give me something, or so on and so forth. And that's not okay either. I think both sides are flawed, but that doesn't mean that we gotta start throwing out these terms like hopeless romantic. I feel offended personally. So this is what I'm trying to get at. I just think that the love between men and women is flawed. I think my experiences have showed me that. I'm sure you guys can say the same. And there's work that needs to be done. Let's keep talking about this, guys. Maybe we'll talk about it on the next episode of Brick Talk. I love y'all, and we'll talk soon. Love. Peace.